The world is divided into four spheres, each sphere divided among continents and nations. Nations are divided by borders and interests. These interests divide the news. We examine the impact of these divisions on people and power. This is Imaginary Lines. Welcome to the program. I'm your host, Chris Spanos. For more than 5 years, Greece has been experiencing an economic crisis. It's a crisis that has profoundly impacted, among other elements of society, Greek media. In this episode of Imaginary Lines, I speak with Kostas Arvanidis, director of one of Greece's largest media networks, the Syriza-affiliated Kokkino, which in English translates to "in the red." I caught up with Kostas during a recent trip to the country. Before joining Kokkino, Kostas was a broadcaster at the Greek radio station ERT. Here's our conversation. From the position of one of Greece's largest radio networks, what can you tell me about Greek media and the role it plays in Greece today?
Τα media στην Ελλάδα είναι η διαπλοκή.
Media in Greece is corruption. Media in Greece, when we were referring to media, we are referring to the financial powers that governs nowadays Greece. Because in the past government wanted to, its main role and characteristic was fear. That's why also they shut down the main public network of television in Greece. ERT was shut it down. Nobody knows in Greece who is behind media, but everybody instead knows who has the money in Greece. There are 5 families in Greece that within media and financial power they want to establish in the parliamentary power.
So in this context, where does Kokkino come from? What's its agenda?
There is a high need to get established in this situation, so in these terms Kokkino enters the scheme of media in Greece. In these terms also Syriza in a similar way got in power. It's not that in an instance Greeks became left, but there is a need for justice, and that's where the people, they gave all their hopes, and that's why now Syriza is in government. In this way also Syriza can lead to the birth of new things. In these terms also the powers of media and the financial powers that they are behind are affecting the social equilibrium, and they play a role in how to arrange things in this situation. The media, they cannot be trusted, and they are playing the dirty role of power in parliamentary terms, and that's why you can explain the awkward miracle of Syriza being in power. So objectively, if a radio station pops up like Kokkino and some others that have as its main role and to be objective and say the truth and be just about information, no wonder that people embrace this experiment and they want even more. The sad anecdote that goes around Greek journalists is that the truth in Greece is to say the half-truth.
There's a media war inside Greece on the efforts to change, to fight against the austerity of the previous governments. There's an international media war on Greece. They report on Greece from the perspective of markets often and paint a picture of fear about Syriza and other powerful social forces for progressive change. What's your analysis of the international media war, the problems they present, and what kind of solutions would you propose?
In order to understand and to translate the role of international media, we must have transparency. We must understand who is behind the international media. and in media in general. Not only against Syriza, not only in Europe, all the media all over the world are against social movements. So it's also a question about priorities. We will not learn about what is happening in Gaza and how Palestinians are getting annihilated, but we will have in a high priority and we have in headlines what is happening in Israel if in another dramatic also death of an Israeli citizen. We are learning and we are getting bombarded from the news about the one part of what is happening in Ukraine, but we are not and we will never learn of what is happening on the other part in eastern Ukraine.
So how is Kokkino covering events like the ISIS crisis in Kobani and the economic crisis in Brussels?
Στις Βρυξέλλες έχουμε ανταποκρίτρια.
One of our highest priorities is also all the news that nobody else is transmitting. And we are trying to find and struggling to find an equilibrium between sources and financing and quality. For example, we have a correspondent in Brussels that sends out the information from Brussels to Kokkino, to Athens, to the network of Kokkino's radio stations, and we organized, with the help of our listeners, a great help to Kobani and Gaza. I think it's one of the biggest financial aid to Gaza and Kobani, because Kokkino need underlined from the fact that before Kokkino nobody else was mentioning what is happening in Kobani. Everybody here fulfills the vision of activism and activistic journalism in a revolutionary way. That's why everybody here is professional, journalist, activist, a soldier in those terms, in order to fulfill this vision. That's why everybody and many producers at the end of their program, their show, they are saying venceremos. That here in Kokkino, it's a family that each member is not only from the left party, not only communist, or from the other colors of the left, but they are people with the free will in order to express it, in order to express the justice, the free journalism. That's why many people, they're going to collaborate with Kokkino.
Given the political situation in Europe and the possible rise of left governments in Spain, in Ireland, and other countries, what is the role of media in Europe?
Να δούμε καταρχήν ποιος θα είναι ο ρόλος των κομμάτων αυτών.
In order to explain this upwind of left parties in Europe and how the media will react, we have to understand also how the other political parties will react on this. Either way, either the media will adapt to a new situation, or new media will have a birth in order to feed the need of the public opinion to get informed. Kokkino makes and cooperates with several different local or free groups of free journalism and other collaborators. Kokkino says that Kokkino may never do the revolution for the people, but the revolution must come from the people, but Kokkino will be there to transmit it.
That's it for today's program. Thanks for watching. I'm your host, Chris Spanos. We'll see you next week.